Good morning students, welcome to grade 10 NCERT History Chapter 2 Nationalism in India. In the previous chapter we discussed nationalism in Europe. This chapter we are going to discuss nationalism in India. First of all we must understand what is nationalism. Nationalism is nothing but it is a feeling of one's own country or nation. Nationalism refers to patriotism. The word nationalism refers to patriotism, that is, one who is showing love and affection or paying homage or devotion towards one's own country is termed as nationalism or patriotism. In the previous chapter we discussed nationalism in Europe, that is, the modern nationalism in Europe came to be associated with a formation of nation states. Before 19th century, now if you go through the present Europe map, there are more than 40 to 45 countries in this map, but before 19th century these were under the rule of very great empires or kingdoms. For example, Greece was ruled by under the Ottoman Turkey, and the France was under the control of absolute monarch Bourbon dynasty. Russian Empire was under the control of Tsar dynasty. So like that, each and every part of Europe was under very big empires or kingdoms. Later on, after 19th century, one by one, they declared their independence and they established nation states. The nation state means a change in people's understanding who they were and what defined their identity and sense of belonging. This was we discussed in the first chapter. New symbols, further they create new symbols and icons. New songs were composed in the name of nation, and they took oath in the name of their nations, and new ideas were forged, new links, and redefined their boundaries of communities. But some of the countries this process was take a long process. Now let us understand how did this consciousness, that is the feeling of nationalism, emerge in India. In India, as in many other colonial countries, the growth of modern nationalism intimately connected to the anti-colonial movement. Anti-colonial movement is nothing but it is opposing the colonial government, because the colonial masters are the foreign rulers. They control the countries like India and even big countries. India is a very big country than British, but it was under the control of British Empire. The colonialism, the sense of being oppressed under the colonialism provided a shared bond that tied many different groups together, but each class, that is each social groups, felt the effects of colonialism differently. Their experiences and difficulties were always varied. Therefore, their notions of freedom were not always the same. Different community people have different experiences. Therefore, their identity or their Swaraj meaning is different from each other. Finally, in the arrival of Gandhiji, all the people are united and they fought for ultimate Swaraj, ultimate freedom or complete independence. In the lower class, that is in the 8th standard, you might have been studied the growth of nationalism in India began from mid 18th century. Mid 18th century means 1757. So this was the period of Battle of Plassey. It was took place between the war took place between Indian ruler Siraj ud Dowlah. He was the Nawab of Bengal, and against the British East India Company. And after this 1757, 1764, there was another war took place between Indian ruler and the British East India Company. That is Buxar Revolt. 1764 Buxar Revolt. This is Battle of Plassey. This is Battle of Buxar. After this, there is after 1764, exactly 100 years later, from 1757 to 1857, the Great Revolt of 1857 took place. It was the first war of Indian independence. It is otherwise called Revolt of 1857, or it is also called Sipahi Mutiny. So from this 1885 formation of Indian National Congress, INC, Indian National Congress, is a party that it was established by A.O. Kim. It was founded by A.O. Kim and Dadabhai Naoroji, Surendranath Banerjee, Umesh Chandra Banerjee. These are the prominent leaders. Gopal Krishna Gole, these are the prominent rulers, prominent leaders lead the Congress in the early Indian National Congress. And up to 1905, there was an important historical event took place, that is a partition of Bengal. Bengal was divided into two parts for the administrative purpose. It was Lord Curzon is divided, but this was opposed by the Indian National Congress because it is a division of Hindus and Muslims. Therefore, they started a partition of Bengal. To oppose this partition of Bengal, they started a Swadeshi movement. Swadeshi movement was started after the victory of Swadeshi movement, 1911 reunion of Bengal. That is, after the Swadeshi movement, the British government is rejoined or once again withdraw the partition of Bengal. So once again Bengal was reunited. These are the process we studied in the in the 8th standard. Now in this video we will pick up the story from the 1920s to 1930s. 1920s to 1930s with the study of non-cooperation movement and the civil disobedience movement, NCM and CDM. NC means non-cooperation movement and CDM means civil disobedience movement. Now we will explore how the Congress sought to develop the national movement and how different the social groups participated in the movement and how the nationalism captured the imagination of people. So let us discuss first, start from the First World War, the Khilafat and non-cooperation movement. Now we will understand the First World War, Khilafat movement and non-cooperation movement. In this topic, we will discuss further the story of nationalism in India. The First World War period is 1914 to 1918. The World War was a turning point in the history of Indian national movement. What are the implications of the First World War? What is the implications? Implication is nothing but it is a effect or impact of the World War. The World War created a new economic and social and political situations not only in the world, also in India. The war led to a huge increase in defense expenditure. Once war started means the expenditure for war is always increased. So the war was financed by war loans and increased taxes, resulted with taxes were increased, especially for example customs duties. Customs duties were increased and income tax was introduced. Not only this, through the war period, the price of basic commodities, especially food price, was increased. Food price was increased, doubling from 1913 to 1918. During this period, the food price was increased double the times. This leading to extreme hardships for the common people. Villages were also called upon to supply soldiers because there is more number of people who are died in the First World War. They need more number of soldiers. Therefore, they picked up from the village side. They are untrained people, but even though they were picked up by the British, and it was called forced recruitment. So, forced recruitment is nothing but the British appointing the villagers without their consent. So, they are appointed as soldiers. This is called forced recruitment. Voluntarily, they are involved in the World War. So, the people in the rural areas were angered against this forced recruitment. There was an acute shortage of food in many parts due to the crop failures. There was crop failures. Between 1919 to 1920, 1921, 20 to 21. So during this period there was a huge shortage. So 1918 to 1919, and there was a crop failures between 1918 to 1919 and 1920 to 21. There was a food crop failures which led to a acute shortage of food. This was accompanied by an influenza. Once the famine affected, influenza is followed by the famine. So this, according to this census of 1921 to 1921, according to 1921 census, 12 to 13 million people 30 million people were killed because of the famine and what is called that epidemic disease. In the year 1919, national movement spread new areas, influenced new social groups, developed new modes of struggles at this juncture. At this crucial time in the period, a new leader appeared in the Indian political arena. That is none other than it is Gandhiji, Mahatma Gandhiji. Let us understand his arrival, what are the changes take place, what he introduced in India. A new method of struggle was introduced by Gandhiji. It is called Satyagraha. Now we will understand what is Satyagraha. Mahatma Gandhiji returned to India from South Africa to India in the year January 1915. It was 1 year later, after the First World War started. Gandhiji 1915 only, he is appearing in the Indian political arena. What is Satyagraha? Satyagraha means peaceful mass agitation. Peaceful mass agitation. Agitation means protest against the cruel oppression and injustice. Gandhiji knew that India could never be matched with the British arms, but he introduced a non-violence method of agitation. It is because Satyagraha is a moral force, not a passive resistance. The idea of Satyagraha emphasized the power of truth and the need to search for truth. Try to understand. The power of Satyagraha emphasized means it enforced the power of truth. What would happen if the Satyagraha, if the power is, the truth power, what will happen? So, this is a need to search for truth. Because Satyagraha is pure soul force. That is, he is telling that why Satyagraha is can be victory, because it is a pure soul force. Truth is very substance of the soul. That is why this force is called Satyagraha. The soul is informed with knowledge. Try to understand. If there is no soul, we cannot. There is no found any knowledge in the body. It is called a dry wood, or it is a substantial matter. So therefore the soul is informed with knowledge. So Satyagraha suggested that if the cause was true, if the struggle was against injustice, then the physical force was not at all necessary to fight against the oppressor. Without seeking vengeance, vengeance means keeping at any cost, tit for tat. So this is called vengeance. So without seeking vengeance or being aggressive, that is very forceful, without physical force, a Satyagrahi could win the battle. Without physical force or without military force, but through the non-violence he can get the victory. Through the non-violence method, the Satyagrahi could win the battle. By this struggle, truth was bound to ultimate triumph. This was Gandhiji is telling. The Satyagraha method or Satyagraha way, Satyagraha non-violence method, struggle triumph and bound to ultimate triumph. Mahatma Gandhiji believed that this dharma of non-violence could unite all Indians. Gandhiji believed that the Satyagraha itself is a dharma, so this dharma of non-violence could unite all Indians for struggle for freedom. As soon as he entered into India, he started a three Satyagraha movement. 1917, in 1917 itself, two Satyagraha movement in different places, and 1918. So these three Satyagraha, 1917, two Satyagraha movement. In the year 1917, Champaran, first he started the Satyagraha movement in Champaran in Bihar. This was a movement struggle against the oppressive indigo plantation system, because the workers, I mean the peasants who are working in Champaran plantation, they were very crushed by the plantation owners. This was opposed by Gandhiji in the year 1917. Champaran in Bihar. And the second Satyagraha movement is held in Kheda district in Gujarat. This was a movement against the district, local, Kheda district. They wanted, the peasants wanted to relaxation, because in that particular year 1917, the farmers unable to pay the revenue, land revenue, because of crop failures. Already we discussed in the previous, just a few minutes before, we discussed that 1913 to 1918 is acute shortage. The food price was doubling because of crop failures, and there was epidemic disease. These are all we discussed, isn't it? So now in the year 1917, the Gujarat peasants are unable to pay the land revenue, so they demand relaxation from paying land revenue. This was a second important Satyagraha movement after he entered in the Indian history, Indian freedom movement. And the third one is 1918. This was Ahmedabad. Cotton mill workers. To support cotton mill workers, he started a Satyagraha movement for higher wages, because the cotton mill workers getting very poor salary and poor wages and poor working condition. To upgrade the working, they want to get more wages, also for better working condition. The Satyagraha movement was started by Gandhiji in the year 1918. So these are the three important Satyagraha movement as soon as after he entered into Indian politics or Indian freedom movement. Now we will discuss the Rowlatt Act and Rowlatt Satyagraha movement. What is Rowlatt Act? After the victory of the three Satyagraha movement campaigns established by Gandhiji as the leader of the masses. Now Gandhiji wanted to launch a nationwide Satyagraha movement against the proposed Rowlatt Act of 1919. This was introduced in the year 1909 after the First World War. 1919. After the First World War, the people believed that there will be relaxation, or there will be some little bit liberty or freedom will enjoy. This was the expectation of the people. But after the World War, it was worse than that, worse than before. So Rowlatt Sidney is a law-making body who introduced in the Legislative Council, Imperial Legislative Council. So after the Champran movement and Kheda movement and Ahmedabad movement, Gandhiji wanted to make all the people involved in the freedom movement. So he was waiting for another struggle for freedom movement. Now Gandhiji wanted to launch a nationwide Satyagraha movement against the proposed Rowlatt Act of 1919. An act was hurriedly passed. What's in the hurry? Very urgently, very without any discussions. Usually the laws are made after a long discussion made in the legislative assembly, then only it will be get passed. So there are some procedures there. So without all this, the law is passed hurriedly by Rowlatt Sidney. Therefore, it is called Rowlatt Act. Despite of the opposition of the Indian members were opposing not to pass this Rowlatt Act, but it was hurriedly passed by the Legislative Council, Imperial Legislative Council. It gave, what is the problem in this? The law gave enormous power. That is very arrogant. The government can do anything against the nationalists. The people who are involved in the, who are opposed the government, they were arrested by the police at any time, anywhere, and they can detain. Detained means they can keep the political prisoners for 2 years without trial in court. Detained without trial in court. Therefore, Gandhiji decided to oppose this such a cruel law, because this law is otherwise called black law. Without any reason, how can the police can arrest any person, and they can how can they keep under custody, detained for 2 years? So these are all the law gave permission or granted the enormous power to the government. Therefore, Gandhiji decided to oppose this Rowlatt Act. What is the role, or what is the how the people react to the Gandhiji's call for Satyagraha movement, Rowlatt Satyagraha movement? Role or people conducted rallies in different places. They organized rallies, various cities and towns, and the workers went on strike in railway workshops. The people who are working in the government railway workshops, they are all went on strike, and shops were closed down. Lockdown now it is very popular word during this corona period. So it is in those days it is called closed down. The shops are closed down. Alarmed. There was a alarmed by the government, popular upsurge, and the British cared about that the lines of communication such as the railways and telegraph would be disrupted. So this was a fear of government. If the movement is started, or if the movement is goes very vigorous, the British government decided to clamp down the nationalists. Therefore, the government started to arrest local leaders, especially Dr. Saifuddin Kichlu and Dr. Satyapal Singh in Amritsar, because these are the two prominent leaders in Punjab and Amritsar particularly. So they were arrested to oppose this arrest. And also Gandhiji was barred from entering into Delhi. So these are the reasons the people started a non-violence method of procession. They marched in Amritsar. On 10th April, it was happened on 10th April, the police in Amritsar fired upon a peaceful procession. There was a peaceful procession going in Amritsar, but without any warning, the people were shot dead. More than 20 people were killed in the shooting order. Therefore, martial law was imposed by General Dyer, who took the command in chief of the law and order in Amritsar. Please keep in mind the General Dyer. Who was there? He was in charge of command in chief, in charge of law and order in Amritsar. He introduced the martial law. The law does not permit any people to gather or assemble, conduct any meeting or discuss any political matters on the street or on anywhere. So this was called martial law. The martial law was imposed by General Dyer. After the 10th, April 10th, the shooting was took place in Amritsar. To oppose this and arrest of the two leaders, Saifuddin Kichlu and Satyapal Singh, there was a meeting was arranged by Indian National Congress in Amritsar at Jallianwala Bagh. A question will come: when was Jallianwala Bagh took place? Who was responsible for the Jallianwala Bagh massacre? That is General Dyer. So when it was took place? On 13th April 1919. So on 13th April 1919, a meeting was arranged in Amritsar. At there are all sides is closed, only one entrance. This is a park. There is only one single entrance. Jallianwala Bagh is a place, enclosed area. There is one main entrance, only one main entrance. There is a well. This is a open well. A well is there in the place. On 13th April, a meeting was arranged in the Amritsar at an enclosed Jallianwala Bagh area. It was an annual Baisakhi day on 13th April. There was an annual festival. It is called Baisakhi festival. So the people from different villages nearby Amritsar, they all came to Amritsar. Some of the people are gathered to protest against the new repressive measures of government. It was so the people from outsiders of Amritsar gathered, and they were being outsiders, unaware of the martial law. They did not know that is martial law is imposed in the city, so they are unaware of the martial law. General Dyer came there. Now General Dyer is came and he closed in only one entrance. This was closed by General Dyer. And he gives the order to shoot the people for his soldiers. They shoot 20 rounds until the last bullet is shot. Hundreds of innocent people in this shooting order, hundreds of innocent people, including women, children, old age people, everybody were killed. And some of the people are escaping from the bullet shot. They fell into the well and died. So these are the way the more than hundreds of people were killed at a time, and there is thousands of people are wounded. Therefore, it is called Jallianwala Bagh massacre. Then the thousands of people were wounded. His, General Dyer aim or object was to produce moral effect to create in the minds of Satyagraha feeling of terror and awe. Effect of Jallianwala Bagh and repression by the government. How the government is control or oppress the people, or the Jallianwala Bagh incident. After the incident, on hearing the news of Jallianwala Bagh massacre, people in North Indian towns, mainly the North Indian towns, Amritsar and in Delhi, Uttar Pradesh, in these states, North Indian towns, organized strikes. The people came to street and they started a strike. They attacked government buildings, especially the police stations are attacked, and government buildings like post office, railway stations. These are attacked by a mob of angry people. So the government responded with brutal repression. Brutal, very cruel repression was made by the government, seeking to humiliate and repressions. Satyagrahis were forced to rub their nose on this. They are asked to crawl on the roads or streets, and they nose were rubbed on the streets or roads, and do salute to all the sahibs. Sahibs means the government officials or police. They want to salute by kneeling down, and these are the ways their punishments were given very severely. People throw bombs in villages. On seeing the violence spread everywhere, particularly in North India, Gandhiji called up the Rowlatt Satyagraha movement. Next topic is Khilafat and non-cooperation movement. Now we will discuss Khilafat, formation of Khilafat committee and Khilafat movement. In the First World War, we know that last year, 9th standard, we studied that there was two groups fought in the First World War. One group is called Axis forces, that is German and its allied forces and its alliance are called Axis forces, and Britain, France, Russia are called allied forces. So these two group of companies fought in the First World War. After the war, there was at the end of the war, German, Turkey, and what is called that Austria-Hungary, these three countries are badly defeated. So after the war, there was a rumor spread that a harsh peace treaty was going to be imposed on the Ottoman Turkey. Ottoman Turkey was Ottoman Turkey was one of the major country in the First World War. This country was badly defeated by the Allied force, that is by British. So after the war, there was a peace treaty was signed in Versailles. So in this treaty, the Ottoman Turkey temporal powers were declined. The agreement, the treaty was made against the Ottoman Turkey. He was a head of the Muslim world. Head of the Islamic world. That means he is a head of the Muslims for all the people in the world. He was called Khalifa. Caliph. Caliph or Khalifa is therefore to defend their leader, two brothers by name Muhammad Ali and Shaukat Ali. Muhammad Ali and Shaukat Ali were like brothers, therefore they are called Ali brothers. Ali brothers, they founded a what is called that committee to defend their leader, Khalifa committee, to defend the temporal power of Khalifa, and therefore they established a group of Indian Muslims in India in Bombay, March 1919. So March 1918 they founded the Khilafat committee, or Khilafat movement was started. They met Gandhiji, both Muhammad Ali and Shaukat Ali met Gandhiji to support their movement. Gandhiji was already, he was after the Rowlatt Act, Rowlatt Satyagraha movement, he wanted to make still more nationwide, because the Rowlatt Act was also is only in the North India, it was very vigorously went on. In South India, no effect was there. So once again, he wanted to make all the people in the freedom movement. Therefore, this is possible only the Hindus and Muslims to be united. If they are separated and they fought for freedom, it will not be succeeded. Therefore, Gandhiji wanted to make the Hindu-Muslim unity. Therefore, Ali brothers, when they meet Ali brothers with Gandhiji, Gandhiji utilized the golden opportunity. He saw this is a golden opportunity for unite the Hindus and Muslims. He, in the Congress session, Kolkata Congress session, Kolkata Congress session in the year September 1920. So in the Kolkata session, Gandhiji convinced other leaders to the importance of Hindus and Muslims unity and to start a Satyagraha movement along with the Khilafat movement. So all the leaders were accepted, and they are going to start a non-cooperation movement and Khilafat movement. With this, I conclude this topic in this video. We will continue next topic in the next video, part number 2.